And hello and welcome everyone. It's that special time of the week again. It's time for the comic multiverse where the worlds of comics meet.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is. Yes,
how
it
about that?
is.
How's your week been, Matt?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Just been working, doing my comic reviews.
Yeah, I feel that. I got company tomorrow, so I had to spend today cleaning, which was a bit of a pain in the ass, but my place looks much better now.
Nice.
Yeah, we got a nice little smattering of news here. We are, of course, live Sunday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time over on Matt's Twitch channel. We got all the regulars here right now. We got KT and Tavia and Macalius and Devis and Mielmo X and, everyone. John Morebeard, of course, coming and joining us. We got we got at least 20 odd people deciding to spend their Sunday night with us, and that is always much, much appreciated.
Definitely appreciated. People are saying
So,
it's buffering quite a lot, but it's okay on my end. So
that's where, yeah, you're coming in fine for me too. Maybe they need to what is it? Refresh.
yeah, stop and start. When in doubt, turn it off and on
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, really. Again, if we have any problems with this, we promise that the audio version and the video version later will be perfect.
Yeah.
That's the least we can do. Lewd Skeletor in the chat saying Immortal Hulk says trans rights. They absolutely did this week, and they did it in the most subtle and interesting way. They did it with a coffee cup and a backstory of a character that you didn't think you'd actually get until you get it. And you know what? Because the latter half of this show is going to be dedicated to Birds of Prey talk. Do we want to talk about some comics this week we enjoyed? Figure we can backload the show with that this week.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I guess again, we were talking about a Marvel book. Let's talk about another one. X-Men 6 was this week.
It is. I haven't read this one yet.
Okay, then I will try not to spoil too much of it for you because the twist is actually brilliant at the end, and I want you actually surprised because it's just that good. It is a Mystique-centric story.
Okay, cool.
It's a Mystique-centric story that actually is kind of told out of time, and so you get to see her at a lot of really important places during the founding of Krakoa, before and after, and you basically get to see how she's kind of been involved in everything, and how Magneto and Xavier have kind of been keeping her loyal and keeping her on board.
Nice.
And as you find out at the very end of that story, Mystique knows something that she probably should not know, and that thing may actually threaten all of Krakoa.
Ooh, really?
Yes, that she might actually be the one that could bring down this whole entire House of Cards.
Okay, cool.
And I love that for Mystique. This is probably the most important Mystique has been in a very long time, and I really appreciate that for her character.
Cool. That's also I've always liked like when Mystique gets like her time to shine every now and then because it's always really interesting.
Hickman does this amazing thing too, in that she's such this evil, morally reprehensible character so much of the time, and yet here he does this amazing thing to actually make you feel bad for her,
Okay, cool.
which is a hell of a trick. And you know what? I'm not going to say any more of that because, like I said, I genuinely want you to be surprised when you read it.
Oh, cool. Awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. I was going to read it tonight anyway, do all my X-Men books tonight.
Like, yeah. What did you read, Matt? Is there anything you in particular want to talk about before we hopped in the news this week?
I did. I had Superman Heroes issue 1.
Okay, so I have sworn off all of Superman, so I am dying to know. Did Bendis do good or Bendis do bad?
This was like a big sort of like companion piece to that whole identity reveal where it was Bendis, Fraction, Rucker, I think some other people all writing like little stories
Right,
around the fact that Superman has revealed his identity. And they were
right.
all fantastic. Every one of them was fantastic, including the Bendis ones.
Really?
Yeah.
That's high praise, because again, I don't think anyone has been bumming on it more than us. Do
Yeah.
do tell,
Well,
do
well,
explain.
he's like the secret identity reveal isn't something new. It's been done before, but what he's doing around it is really cool. He's showing us like in Superman issue 20 this week. He showed the whole issue was basically one while Superman was off fighting Mongol in space. The whole issue was basically the Daily Star responding to Clark being revealed as Superman and how they think it's unfair that someone with superpowers is a reporter since he can always get one up on them, and they don't find that very fair in the world of journalism and all that sort of stuff. So, and then we also get Lana Lang back as well. So she's kind of mad because Clark never told her he was doing this either.
Huh.
Yeah, but
well, I'll be.
Superman Heroes was a bunch of stories about people in Superman's life who learn that he is Superman. Like, we get a Jimmy Olsen one. Although the Jimmy Olsen one was pretty funny because Jimmy, he says he always knew, and he always knew because there's only 2 people on the earth that called him Jim, and then he realized that they were just the one person.
That's fitting. I like that a lot.
There's a fantastic Batman Wonder Woman one from, I think it was Greg Rucka who wrote that one, where it basically shows that Batman was caught off guard by this, and he's a little jealous that this happened as well, because Superman now obviously has a family and everything, stuff that he can't really have, and he finds himself jealous at this, and it's great because Wonder Woman just calls him on his shit. He's like, this is the one thing you could not prepare for. You have an answer for everything that Superman can do except this.
That's funny that Superman is actually able to live a happy life and balance being a superhero and being a family man. Wow, that's even better too, you know, in the same week where they had that Alfred funeral issue where basically all of Batman's adopted kids read him the riot act.
I hated that issue. Well, I didn't hate it. I just don't understand why half or all the issue was basically them at each other's throats.
Yeah. Well, again, it's the funniest thing. It's like, well, you know, is the Bat family going to come together now in the absence of Alfred? No, of course not, because editorial won't allow them. Editorial has put them in these horrible situations, and now Tynan and Tomasi have to make a story about it, even though the story is going to have no resolution because there's no plans for them to get back together. This is everything as DiDio and the editors have divined it to be. They want Batman to be miserable and alone.
and then a lot of the episode
I think...
Oh, go ahead.
Or no, I think we can both agree our favorite bit is Barbara Gordon hitting him with both barrels, being like, you know, you were fucking around with Catwoman on the beach when he died, right? And that it's basically your fault. And which, again, is like kind of casting an eye at Tom King to be like, this is your fault. You put us in this situation.
that was pretty good. I also like that, for some reason, most of the book was about Rick Grayson, and yet no one was like, are we going to help this guy? Like, this is Dick Grayson. We're just going to ignore it. And it's not even brought up. And then he somehow has a picture of Alfred and all of them together after saying that, you know, he doesn't remember him or Alfred or anything.
It's not like, you know, some of the most powerful psychics and magic users in the world who could try and fix his brain. It's not like, oh, I don't know, you could dump him into a Lazarus pit for a little bit or something. Even for Alfred, it's not like you could just bring him back to life. Nah, we just got to be sad for a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those were some books we talked about this week. Do we want to hop into the news? Because there's actually a fair amount of it.
Yeah.
All right, so hopping on into the news over here, we got, here we go. So I guess the biggest piece of news and the thing that kind of took over the internet for the last little bit there is Reeves let us actually see the Batman suit screen test.
Yeah, and it looks great.
Yeah, looks pretty cool. Looks very Arkham video game, doesn't it?
It does, and it looks like it looks very much like this is like his first suit.
Yeah.
Like first proper Batman suit.
I like too that there is a cowl that looks like he could actually take on and off.
Yeah, the cowl. As people were quick to point out, very Daredevil-like.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fucking good helmet, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looks good. People kept saying that, because we get to see the new bat symbol, which looks very much like an old bat symbol. It's got no ears or anything on it. People are quick to say that that's like the gun his parents use, and I know that's part of the comics. That's something that Kevin Smith wrote in that Detective Comics issue.
But it was
1000.
Only a plate.
Yeah,
it was an armor plate.
But I just keep asking people to point out, they're like, oh, it's the parts of the gun. I'm like, well, what parts are it? If you can tell me which parts that you see in that are a gun, I'll agree with you, but none of them could. It's not a fucking gun.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like someone tweeted that, then everyone
I think
grabbed
what
onto that and
happened.
just refused to let it go.
That's exactly what
I
happened.
believe this I believe this is what's known as mass hysteria. Yeah, I don't believe it's a gun either. Again, that Kevin Smith story is brand fucking new.
Hmm.
And again, it was just a plate. And the whole idea that, oh, he wears the gun that shot his parents and it's the bat symbol. I'm like, that is some teenage edgy boy shit, is what that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And I
It's
don't
so
want it to
stupid.
be true.
Yeah, I don't mind it if it was like a plate, like he melted it down and made a plate. Whereas something like I get the whole idea of like this was something that could take someone's life. Now it's something that can protect someone's life. I get that, but yeah, like having like this is the gun slide and I've put it into my chest and it looks like a bat symbol now. Like that's so stupid.
It's also so unnecessary. Again, I hope it's not true, because if so, that kind of worries me, because that's them coming at this like, oh, we need to fix Batman. There's not enough lore here already. We need to invent something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope that that's not the case, especially when you have Robert Pattinson out there in interviews being like, "Oh, this Batman isn't going to be sanitized, man. He's going to be filthy. He's going to be the old dirty bastard Batman that you want." And it's like, "Really? Did I want that, Robert Pattinson?" Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know I wanted that.
The unsanitized Batman. Yeah, cuz the last ones were so sanitized, right?
Yeah.
Has Robert Pattinson seen a Batman movie ever, or is he just saying buzzwords?
Yeah, just buzzwords.
Just buzzwords. But yeah, the costume looks pretty cool, and it's nice that we got to see this little insight. And again, it is a screen test, so chances are it won't be the last one. So if you love it, hopefully that means they're going in the right direction. And if you don't love it, chill out, because it's probably not going to be the final version.
No. Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't seem to realize. This is a camera test.
Yeah.
Not it's not like this that was a particular scene in the film.
Perfect example, The Witcher, when we saw the test footage of that and everyone hated it, then it's like, yeah, it's not the final look, everybody.
Yeah.
As the chat says, yeah, well, Bruce Wayne is an edgy teenage boy, man. Yeah, you're not wrong. That, like, again, if that ended up being in the movie, I would begrudgingly be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I wouldn't like it, but I'd understand it if it ends up being true. But for the time being, I see no actual evidence of that being the gun that killed his parents, even though everyone online seems to love that idea at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from that. We had talked about Superman and the Superman family of books. Well, some sad news coming out of the Superman office, though I feel this is something that will surprise nobody. DC has finally decided to just straight up cancel Supergirl again.
It's surprisingly lasted a lot longer than I thought.
Mm-hmm. What did they think was going to happen with this book? From the very beginning, it was tied into what Bendis was doing with Superman. You were telling me there were 2 whole issues that were just literally the Superman book again, but with shit shifted.
And that and that was after we had this like really cool story where Kara basically learned all about Rogol Zaar and the stuff that should have been in the main Superman book, with him, with his ties to the Circle and Krypton's destruction and all that sort of stuff, like important shit. And then we got 2 issues that were basically just carbon copies of issues of Batman and Superman and Superman.
And then if that wasn't enough, once that stupidity was done, it's like, okay, now do this infected stuff as well. So already whoever's writing this book is slave to what other people are doing, so they never really get to do their own thing.
Yeah, Jody Houser's taken over the book from Mark Andreyko through this infected run. And I think like from the solicitation, it sounds like the infected stuff is going to go straight up until that last issue and end with her back to being normal, but on the run from the police and the government and everything.
Such a shame, but such is Supergirl. They struggle so hard to try and find something for her to do that is uniquely Kara and, not just living in Superman's shadow. It's a shame, but again, I'm not going to sit here and say, I didn't think, how could this have happened?
Yeah, it's that's always been the thing with the Supergirl books, is like, how do you differentiate it from Superman? And it's very difficult to do. And like, even as a Superman fan myself, I find it difficult to differentiate it because they they share a lot of the same villains, and their powers are exactly the same, and you know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess more power to it for all its creative teams that it stuck around as long as it did.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully Hauser gets to go do something else fun, because I was really excited that they gave her such a high profile book, and I'm like, ooh, I wonder what she's going to do with this. Hopefully she can use this as the launch pad to something else.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tevia, thank you for the cheers. Always appreciated. Bendis screws another book. Yeah, I mean, it took a while,
Is
but
it
when that was the
Bendis
foot
or
it
is it
started on.
editorial? People keep saying it's Bendis, like he has some sort of like godlike power over at DC.
Magic
And
power.
it's editorial. It's really editorial.
Bendis is but a symptom of the greater disease. Now moving on from there, we got a little bit more DC comic news. The next big Batman event is already slated for, I think, Batman number 95, and that is going to be the beginning of the Joker War.
Yes, but this time with no jokes and riddles. It's just Joker
No,
War.
no. Just Joker War, which, man, as far as names go, it's like, look, I understand that that's a name that's going to move a lot of books, but also that feels like the first name they threw out. They're like, nope, stop drilling, you hit oil, that's the one. I mean, I guess all the good Joker event names are taken, like Last Laugh. That's already taken.
Yeah. You could call
Send.
it like the final act or something, or
There you go. Can't call it Send in the Clowns. Can't
Nah.
call it anything like that.
Yeah.
All the good clown puns and plays on words have been taken.
Yeah, should have just called it We Live in a Society. Society.
Yes, please. Just call it that. We live in a society. It's going to be interesting, though, to see Tynion kind of take the reins of the Joker, and they're definitely setting this up in the actual Batman book itself, in the little like backup stories. Joker is well aware that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and this is his big final joke, his big gotcha moment. And they say to really differentiate this is that every other time Batman and the Joker have clashed, the Joker hasn't been trying. He doesn't want to win, because he has always wanted him and Batman to keep their back and forth, their dance going forever, but now he actually wants to be done with it.
Yeah, which is a really cool piece of character development, or a new like status quo for the character. Because yeah, as you said, they kind of stuck in that sort of cycle where both of them kind of don't want it to end. So for one of them to want it to end is really interesting.
Definitely. Also, thank you, GamerMite24, for the follow. Always much appreciated.
Yeah.
And I guess too, this kind of feels like they're already kind of setting them up to be James Tynion's last run on Batman. I think the sad truth of his run and all the runs at DC right now is that they're not going to get to 100, because that's when we're going to start 5Ging stuff, and when we're going to basically have a soft crisis.
Yeah, or if you're like The Flash, which is on issue 87 now, it's like the next issue is going into issue 750.
Really?
Yeah, so they're just like, same happened with Wonder Woman as well. They're just like skipping a heap, and I'm like, oh, come on.
Because we got legacy numbers now. Remember when they did that with Detective and Action Comics, and we thought it was cool, and now they're doing it for all the other books, and it's less cool?
Yeah, well, action that like they also kind of cheated as well, because they counted the new 52 ones as to like push it to issue 1000. Same with the Detective. I think that's a little bit cheating, but it's not as bad as this though.
Yeah, to where we're just jumping right to 750. Why? Because it's cool legacy numbering. Isn't it great we've been around that long?
Yeah, we can sell these books for more.
Yeah, and again, too, I'm like, oh, you've had some inconsistent years in there, but sure, why not? We'll take it. But yeah, that's Joker War coming out soon. They haven't said anything about it, but I can only assume with every other event being, the framework for this, there's probably going to be tie-ins and special one-shots and variant covers and everything else, so get ready for that.
Oh, yeah, like 20 variant covers or something, yeah.
And then I'm sure the Joker will die/go away here for a long period of time, so we can make a big deal about when he's back again.
He won't go away.
No. Well, but we have the Batman who laughs now, so we don't need the Joker as much.
Yeah, he's a character who is Batman and Joker.
Together, again, he with all the milkable potential. And hey, in fact, I think that might be our next story, if I'm not mistaken. No, actually, we got some Marvel news after this. This was surprising. Spinning out of the pages of Empire, the next big event that's coming down the pipeline, which admittedly, I wasn't too excited about Empire, but all these tie-ins have actually got me a little excited, this one
Yeah.
being one of them. But we're getting a brand new super team called the Union, which naturally is going to be led by Union Jack and a bunch of new heroes.
Yeah, yeah, and people are pitching it as like it's the Brexit team.
Exactly. Hey, what is it? We used to be able to fight for the entire kingdom right here, the entire United Kingdom, but now it's less united. So what do we do with that?
Yeah, no, yeah. These as you said, like I wasn't really too taken by Empire, and then like I started seeing all these tie-ins. I'm like, oh, these are really interesting. I'm probably going to read a lot of them.
I'm shocked too that in this team of Britain's greatest superheroes, Great Britain's greatest superheroes, no Excalibur on this
No.
one, which I guess makes sense because obviously that's a book in and of itself right now, and again the mutants and the other heroes aren't really aren't really meshing right now, so that's probably why you're not going to see Captain Britain, even though it's like I guess Union Jack is our Captain Britain
Do,
stand-in.
do you think maybe they might have a crossover with them at some point, or like a clash with them or something during
If
this event?
if they don't, then they're really dropping the ball. And if Agent Pete Wisdom of MI13 isn't somehow involved in the Union, then again, they're just dropping the ball and leaving money on the table. I'd love to tell you more about the Union, but again, there's not much known about them except for Union Jack. We got Sword Lady, who looks a bit like British Wonder Woman.
Yep.
We got Totally Not Starfire up there, who is apparently from Scotland. We got Scottish Starfire.
Yeah, we got Beast Boy down the corner there with the green hair.
Oh yeah. He's got a dagger. I don't know where he's from. Somewhere stabby, I guess.
Somewhere stabby.
He's from the stabby part of Wales, where we stab you in a sing-song voice. Then we got Big Motherfucker up here on the right with his hood up. I like Big Motherfucker's design a lot. I like that he's just got one glowy eye.
That's actually his name as well, Big Motherfucker.
Big Motherfucker. Or no, again, it's a British team, so shouldn't he be Absolute Unit? All right, we're going to save the day, then we're going to go for a cheeky Nando's is what we're going to do. See, I know my British stuff. What's the first thing they're going to do? Oh no, the hand ninjas have stolen all the tea. Not on our... What's that? Hydra is weaponizing corgis to try and kill the queen? Not on our watch, they're not. For queen and country. I joke, but seriously, this is a fun premise. I'm excited for this. Plus, it's just cool to see Union Jack and shit because that's a really good costume.
Yeah, I really like Union Jacks because I know a lot of people don't really like it because it's essentially like a flag. But there's something about it that I really like, especially this particular one.
Again, yeah, where he's got kind of like the black, almost Red Hood type mask and everything. Someone in the chat, Cyborg Soldier, Joel, you're just pitching the sequel to the Queen's Corgi. Really? Oh, one of those like shitty animated movies? Was that a thing where someone tried to weaponize corgis to kill the Queen? Holy shit!
Oh, that sounds great.
Wow. Again, I thought that was a bad movie, and now I'm like, maybe I gotta see this. But yeah, that's the Union. This looks kind of cool. I'll definitely check this one out. I like the idea of every country having their own kind of stand-in super team. Obviously, Canada, we got the Great Lakes Avengers and Alpha Flight. They're not great, but they're ours.
They do something. Yeah, the US has Squadron Supreme.
They do. Does Australia have a super team? I'm sure they do at some point.
I'm just trying to remember. There was a team that came about recently. I'm just trying to remember whether it was from DC or Marvel. They
I know.
I want to say it was. I think it might have been DC. But I want to. Say that guy. I want to say that guy who was in the recent X-Men books, Gateway, was on the team.
Yes, that's right. He was Australian X-Men. I remember Injustice gave like an original Australian hero, which makes sense because Tom Taylor is from Australia, and then they fucking killed
Yeah, he
him.
was immediately crippled by Superman.
Immediately killed, and I'm like, well, shit happens. Hmm. The chat saying we need Captain Australia. Agreed. What would Captain Australia look like? What would his
we
powers be?
we actually have it. It's a I'm blanking on what the comic is called, but I think it's like an Australian independent comic by some writers over here where the hero is like an Anzac soldier, and he's
Oh,
like
that's
got like
clever.
the flop hat and everything, and it looks pretty cool.
Like
I'm
it.
blanking on the name because I always see it like when I go to the Comic Cons and everything because they always go there.
Same with Canada and Captain Canuck. The chat saying it would just be Hugh Jackman. Agreed. We just get Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman. We shoot him up with super soldier serum, and the team can be called the Down Underers. I like it. We're the Down Underers. No crime will be committed on this island nation.
Yeah, that was a prison.
Yeah, that was a prison. There you go. They're all the end results of prison experiments. There you go. Oh, I'm trying to get a Midnight Oil, Blue Sky Mine reference in there, but I can't quite do it. I'll work on that. We'll workshop that. Oh, that can be one of their villains, Blue Sky. There you go. Make
There you
like a
go.
Blue Sky Mine reference. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, what else do we got going on here for news? Okay. Again, this is what I was talking about before. Encore, the big Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo capstone to their almost decades worth of DC work. We've been calling it Encore forever. We knew it was a sequel to Dark Knight's Metal. Well, we officially have its name now. It's Dark Knight's Death Metal.
Of course it's called that. Of course.
Of course it is. It's like Encore. I'm like, yeah, all right, Encore. That kind of makes sense, keeping with the music theme, because, Morrison set up the idea that all these different universes, you need to use musical keys to travel through. And again, it's literally Snyder and Capullo's Encore. No, death metal is more on topic. I get it. That's cool.
Yeah, and it looks pretty cool. We got to see some covers, and we get to see like Batman riding a cool motorcycle with a big scythe, and these are indeed
Yeah.
like these aren't like multiversal counterparts like we originally thought when we first talked about this. These are the
Mm-mm.
actual heroes. Did you see the little bit of story that sort of came out about it? Like they kind of gave it
No,
wasn't
I
really
didn't actually.
wasn't really like a plot synopsis. It was just like, oh, what is this book about? So it's like how I said, it's basically Last Night on Earth. That book,
Oh,
but everything is like
clever.
changed. Batman isn't dead. He's leading the Resistance. Wonder Woman and the Flash have teamed up to do something. They didn't say what because apparently it's something big. And Superman
Mm.
has been imprisoned in the sun and has been used to power the sun for
Oh.
eternity.
Oh, hot damn. And clearly he's been jerking it there while in the sun, and that explains what happens to his arm. Again, what the church told you growing up was right, children. You'll get a freaky dark side arm. So watch out for that. That's cool. What I keep waiting for is like, all right, Snyder, are you going to explain what was in Green Arrow's box at any point during all of this?
It could come back. It could come back, but probably won't.
If that comes back and it wasn't just like some editorial they gave to make Green Arrow feel important, I will buy that man a Coke.
It's like, aha, you thought I forgot. It's like you reminded him. It's like, oh fuck, write this in the last issue. It'll save
Yeah,
everyone.
goddamn. Exactly. That's the thing. Green Arrow's box saves ever. That would be so fucked up if that was always the plan and that was always the big final MacGuffin. Green Arrow's box.
The box was filled with friendship.
Ah, there you go. And we wished Perpetua away. We all joined hands and we said, "Go away, Perpetua, go away. Fuck around with another multiverse." She's like, "Fine, I'll go fuck around with Marvel." And that's how we get Secret Crisis.
It all tracks. She's that black.
Man, again,
She's that
like
Black
again,
Winter in Thor.
she's Null's sister. Again, we joke about that shit, but if that ends up being true, holy shit.
That would be pretty damn cool.
This is why this is Snyder's last DC project, because once he's done here, he's going to write Secret Crisis for Marvel.
Him and Donny Cates are getting together to write it.
I mean, it could happen. What is it? My buddy Sal actually wrote a whole video there that was quite informative, where he's like, look, how could we deal with this in 2020? How could we get another Marvel DC crossover where they could split the profits and have it all be okay and everyone feel like their hands got washed? The answer is have IDW put it out, actually.
Yeah, that'd actually be pretty cool.
Have a third company do it. You split the profits right down the middle. They just license the characters, which IDW does all the time. They did it for Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and Star Trek. Just treat it like anything else.
Yeah,
and
that'd be
if it
cool.
sucks and it's bad, blame IDW.
Yeah, they're the ones who wrote everything and did everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's bad, take all the credit. Or if it's good, take all the credit for yourself. I think it works out quite perfectly. But yeah, there's death metal coming down the pipeline. I'm excited for it, really, if only just because I want to see how that fucking Justice League story ended. That's such a kick in the teeth, where it's just like, all right, how does it end? You gotta wait.
It was a really weird ending, because as I said before, it didn't tease this or anything. It just, like, ended. No. And then the week after, we got the new, like, book that takes place before or after or whenever.
During... Again, who cares? We're just 5Ging this all out of existence soon enough anyway, so enjoy it while you can.
Speaking of 5G, did you see the announcement for all the one-shots that are coming out for that?
Oh no, I missed that actually. Holy shit, that was a big one.
They're doing it. They're starting with Generation 1, and it's going to be a series of one-shots set in that generation, and they're all written by different writers and stuff. The first one's written by... I can't remember what the guy's name was, but I looked him up, and he's barely done anything outside of, like, editorial. So like, oh, okay. Ugh. I see what this means. And this is how we're starting this event.
So after fucking around and imposing their will forever, the editors are just going to write the books now. Okay.
Yeah, this guy has written stuff, but it's always been like stories that are in bigger books, like little couple page stories. I'm like, oh.
You want to know a dirty secret about editors writing books, as it basically came out later, and a bunch of jilted writers will tell you, that's basically what happened in the New 52. The editors basically did write the books.
And look how that turned out.
And look how that turned out. Hey, I don't know. Maybe 5G's the shot in the arm they need. I mean, it can't really get worse at DC right now, but I mean, actually, no, that's not true. Things can always get worse.
Yeah, don't give them, a chance to prove you wrong, Joel.
And again, with the talks too, where it's like, okay, so Tynan's out, and who's going to be writing Batman? Well, a guy who's never written a comic book before, but who wrote Hollywood movies, and because we really, really want to get non-comic readers in, so we're going to get non-comic writers to write comics. Mm-hmm. That seems weird.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. Time will tell, and if nothing else, it'll be good content for us, Matt, because everyone's going to want to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do all this, because it'll give me content for my channel, and people will definitely show up for it.
Yeah, at least we're going to have stuff to talk about for the next little bit, so that's always a plus. What else do we got going on here? Ooh, here's a big piece of news. I really didn't see this one coming. This is probably one of the most pleasant surprises in a very long time. Paul motherfucking Dini, that is his full name, actually, in case you didn't know. Paul MF Dini. The man who helped bring us Batman the Animated Series, the man who wrote some of your favorite Batman stories of all time, the creator, I guess co-creator, because he came up with her, other people drew her, of Harley Quinn, is coming back to do more Batman the Animated stories in a brand new comic series, and oh my god, it looks fucking beautiful.
It does. It looks so damn cool. I'm really excited for this. The art we saw in it looks really damn good. I'm intrigued to see what stories they will tell, or that, and like what ones,
Same.
whether they'll like use ones that they didn't like they couldn't use in the show due to like budget,
Hmm.
or just didn't have time for or something.
It's true. It also really helps too. The Batman the Animated Series. One of the best things about it is that it didn't matter if you came in episode 1 or episode 100. The show was kind of built in a way that you could watch any episode and really enjoy it. And I have to wonder, will this be making callbacks and references? We got the red skies and the great Art Deco buildings and everything, so we're already halfway there. I am just so goddamn up for this. I really am.
Yeah, I said on Twitter, I hope that Bruce Timm comes back for those Batgirl one shot issues because he's got
There
a
you
good
go.
grasp of the character.
He does, and again, even if he just drew some stuff in the background, that would be pretty great. Because I don't know, does Tim draw stuff anymore? I don't know if he
I
is
don't
as
know.
hard working artist, or I haven't heard much of him in a long time. I know he produces some of those animated movies every so often, but by and large, I think he's just counting his money and just not having to work anymore.
Yeah, he's busy putting Batgirl and Batman together as a romantic couple.
Yeah. Now they're gonna kiss. I
Yeah,
can do
they got to
this.
go fuck on that rooftop over there.
Again, you gotta wonder whose idea was that. Was that his? Was that Azzarello? Because like that was always a thread in the show that they never did until that Killing Joke movie where they were finally able to do it. And I'm like, all right, whose fetish is this? Who's really into this? See, I thought it was Dini because I thought he was really the kinkster out of the group, but no, apparently it's what is it? Apparently it's him that was the dirty bird all along, which should have made sense because doesn't he have like a whole art book that's just and I draw naked ladies?
Yeah, yeah.
What's that? Bruce Timm's Naughty or Nice. I see that at every convention. I'm like, oh, you lovable perv, you. Yeah, I know. This is respectable now. It's fine. No, they're classy nudes. He will not be involved in this book
No,
though.
no.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, unless he's like a secret writer where that hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah, really. Again, what kind of stories would you like to see? Because this is kind of that cool time where it's like stuff that's happened in the comic sense. Dini could really, adapt into the Batman the animated series universe. Like it would be cool to see maybe his take on Hush, because obviously he wrote Heart of Hush and everything.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see like more newer stuff that we've seen, like good newer stuff that we've seen in the comics. Like I would like to see the Court of Owls, his version of the Court of Owls. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That would be really great. I'm sure too. Dini's sitting on some original stuff. Again,
Hmm.
he created so many characters people love. It'd be fun to see him come back and write Harley Quinn again, especially that version of Harley Quinn that exists within the Batman the Animated Series universe, who hasn't been changed or messed around with, or become
Hmm.
the fourth pillar. Or maybe he'll do it his way. Wouldn't that be some shit? Like, yeah, I want Harley to be a solo character, but my way.
Yeah, good. An actual fleshed out character.
Again, they could bring in characters we never saw before, like Deathstroke. That would be fun.
Yeah.
See their take on it. Heck, could even bring some characters who were never in the show, like Batwoman or Luke Fox or Duke. That would be kind of interesting. Kind
I,
of help fill out the whole roster.
I would also like to see, and this again goes with like oh, would he be able to do this because Tom King's busy fucking up with that character, and that is the Phantasm.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
bring Andrea back and
We never saw her again.
do
Yeah.
do something with her, but will he be able to do that because fucking Tom King's got a hand on her? And although he's got a hand on her in a book that has no release date, so
There you go. He's got to go work for Hollywood.
in that New Gods movie that's definitely coming out.
We promise it's definitely coming out. Yeah, I mean, just sky's the limit for this book, and it looks so good. I'm just so goddamn. I wish it came out tomorrow. I wish I could read it now.
The best thing is it's digital first as well, so like we're not gonna have to like wait a little bit usually like you do with these like the Superman
Print,
giants
yeah.
and stuff like that. It's coming out for digital first.
And about goddamn time. Again, DC, you had such a leg up on Marvel for so
Yeah.
long in the realm of digital comics with Injustice and Batman Beyond 2.0 and Justice League Beyond 2.0. Why did you ever give up that lead and stop doing digital comics? Well, I know exactly why you stopped doing it. It's because Injustice came to an end and you're like, oh god, we're not making any money off this anymore.
Yeah, it's such a damn shame that they just like gave up on it, because yeah, their digital stuff, like pretty much all of it was damn good. Like you said, I
Mhm.
followed Injustice straight from the beginning through digital, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. And it seemed so much it's like, yep, this is the future right here. A comic that comes out every week is a little shorter but very concise, and you can read it in a short amount of time and you feel satisfied, and it's its own little universe that everyone knows. Why did you stop doing this? You should have done more with that.
Yeah, that's what I've always thought they should do. They should do like different like multiverse stories in digital form. So like, oh, here's like an Earth 2 book that's digital only, or like an Earth 3 book or something, like different Earths, so where it's kind of like obviously not in continuity, it's away from like the physical main stuff. People can differentiate themselves like they did with Injustice.
Yeah. You know what I think the problem is? I think any ideas that they had for that ended up becoming Walmart comics.
Yeah, yeah, that's a shame. And even then, I don't think they're doing quite well either. I'm not too sure. Oh no,
Again, if they
didn't we do it? Didn't we like talk about that? They like cancelled a bunch of them or something.
they did, some are hard to find. It feels like a flight of fancy is what it feels like.
Yeah,
Feels more like a flight of fancy than it does anything. Because again, even with shows you got going on right now on the app, like that Harley Quinn show and Young Justice when that comes back for season 4, those should have comics in between to tide people over, is what they should have.
that's what they should be doing. They should be releasing comics on that app exclusively to that app, like a Harley Quinn
Yeah.
comic and stuff. But no, not gonna do that. Got the Walmart comic.
Yeah, again, where it's like, look, if you took this Batman Universe book, which is really good, and this Superman Up in the Sky book, which we really enjoyed, and you put it here, I think people would read it and people would enjoy it, and that would be smart. But
Yeah,
that's just me. What the fuck do I know?
yeah,
Nothing, apparently. Now, from the world of Batman to the world of X-Men, we're getting another X-Men book, Matt. I know it's a day doesn't go by where a new X-Men book isn't announced. We're gonna find out next week that Matt and I are actually writing an X-Men book
Everyone's getting one.
called yeah, we're rebooting the Extreme X-Men is what we're going to do. That was the last name at the bottom of the hat. Everyone had taken all the other team names. This was all we had left. So Matt and I are going to be writing the Extreme X-Men. We got the red and black costumes. It's going to be great. All the shittiest X-Men. We got the only ones who are left. It's going to be great. We got Husk and Glob and all of them. This book is going to be terrible, but hey, they said they want 6 issues, so we're going to do it. But no, the book I'm talking about is one that's not going to be shit, and that is XFactor, which I have always loved the XFactor concept, and I really like the artwork they put out. They basically look like a Power Ranger team.
They do, yeah. They all got their own unique color, and like their costume reflects that and everything. They all got like the like X Factor symbol somewhere on the costume. Looks really cool.
I read a little article about this where they talked to the writer and they said, they actually struggled to find the new X Factor logo. And the idea being is that, well, every team has an X on them somewhere is the thing, but they're the investigative branch of Krakoa. They're the detectives. They're the ones trying to hunt down mutants who might be dead or might be missing. And the idea is like, okay, let's have a circle and an X, but there's nothing in the circle because, that's what they're trying to find. They're all trying to fill the circle.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very smart and clever way to brand a logo. And that's the thing with like all the logos of this thing. They've like actually done the time. Like I think Jonathan Hickman posted a page where it was like a style guide, and it's like this is how the X is going to look on like the X-Men book, and this is what all the like Krakoan letters mean, and it's like stuff like that other comics probably wouldn't even think of.
Yeah, absolutely. Polaris is looking great on the team. Always loved Polaris. Always had a soft spot for her. Kind of cool to see her doing her own thing. North Star, Aurora, they just announced was going to be on the team, so that's pretty cool. Someone in the chat saying, "Where's Multiple Man?" Yeah, yeah, where is Multiple Man? Good question. But perhaps the biggest redesign is actually Dawkins for the team. They've really taken him back to zero and taken him in a new direction.
That's an understatement.
He got some beef on him now. He's a beefy boy now. He's a
Yeah.
big shirtless beefy boy. Man, the Twitter discourse when they came out with this new version of Dawkins was truly amazing. I'm really used to in comics, and I'm sure you've seen it a lot too, Matt. Whenever they like change a female character's design, you always have a bunch of like horny straight nerds being like, "Nah, she's not sexy anymore. Yeah, how am I supposed to masturbate to this?" With Dawkins, it was quite interesting because we got to see the gay nerd version of that, and they're like, "Oh, he went from twink to bear. How am I supposed to masturbate to this? This isn't my fetish." And again, like I'm trying to be really understanding and everything, and I'm just like, I understand what some of those words mean. Yes. Yes. All right. But yeah, I just thought that was so funny. I'm like, hey, maybe he'll be worth reading about too now that they've changed his look.
Yeah, maybe if they changed his look, they've like actually gave him some character and some
Might
development.
just look. Which again, too, I appreciate that he just doesn't look like Logan anymore, and he
Yeah.
especially doesn't look like X-23 and anyone else. Where it's just like, look, he's his own thing now. He's been hitting the gym, he's been eating up on that protein, and
It's
he's
funny.
joined XFactor.
It's funny when you say he doesn't look like Logan. He doesn't look like Logan, but then he somehow now with this redesign looks like Logan a little more. Like he's a little bit bigger, and whereas
It's
before he
weird,
was
isn't
like
it?
leaner and slimmer and everything.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's also got a bit more of a samurai thing going
Hmm.
on now, so he's really like digging his own Japanese heritage. Which, all right,
Yeah.
that's cool. But yeah, I'm excited for X Factor. I'll definitely check that one out. As Crusader Con in the chat says, Dawkins still looks hot. All right then, this one gets the Crusader Con seal of approval. We can put that one on the book. That'll be your first quote. Alrighty then. What else do we got here? So here is a piece of news I call shit only Joel cares about and shit Joel found out about today, and now you all have to listen to it. So again, you may have heard of this a while back in a project that I never thought would see the light of day. They said that Chris Rock was going to be producing and starring in a brand new Saw movie, and I'm like, fuck off, that's not happening. Why would you say something like that? Only to find out that yes, he is doing it, and it's now officially a full spin-off. It's called Spiral from the Book of Saw, and it's starring Chris Rock in a buddy cop comedy horror movie. It's him, it's Samuel L. Jackson on the trail of the Spiral Killer, who is killing cops in a way very similar to how Jigsaw killed people with elaborate death traps.
Well, what really surprised me about this was I heard about like Chris Rock's doing a Saw movie. I'm like, oh yeah, okay then. What really surprised me was like, oh, they've actually like already filmed it, and oh, here's a fucking trailer for
Oh,
it.
I know, right? I couldn't fucking believe it. And I can't believe this weird ass tone they're hitting with it. And I just like, I again talk about like something, I want it now. Even if it's shit, I want it
Yeah.
now.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it looks pretty damn good. Like, the way like
It
it's set up
does.
with like him as the detective and everything. And I'm like, oh, please do like that whole thing that the other Saw movies did, where like you'll get a sequel and it'll be basically the first film but from different angles, where another character
Uh,
saw this character do this, and I'm like, oh, do that whole ridiculous shit again, but with Chris Rock this
man,
time.
I am such like an unironic fan of the Saw series. I love that they are in love with their own continuity. I love that everyone else has like different levels of acting. Like for some people, this is their first movie. Some people totally overact, and then you got people like Tobin Bell, who's like giving his fucking Oscar performance every time in this schlocky horror movie. I love that they filmed it in the whiskey factories in Toronto, and that I can actually pick out landmarks in the movie. Again, like you said, I love that you could be a minor character in Saw 3 and then you would be the star of Saw 5, even
Yeah,
if you've never been in a movie before,
yeah.
because anyone could be a star.
Yeah, this guy who was just some rando in like Saw 2, he's now the villain of Saw 6 and stuff like that.
Yes. he had a whole rich backstory you didn't know about. Also, too, this movie, it might be a little too early to call, but I get a very kind of like Get Out Us vibe to this, where this is going to kind of be like the socially relevant horror movie, where I'm
Mhm.
like, how much money you bet these cops that are getting murdered were dirty cops,
Yeah, yeah. Or they're somehow involved with it somehow.
or cops that got off for shooting unarmed people, and I'm like, I bet that's why Chris Rock was interested in this story.
Hmm.
Because again, too, people forget, most of the Saw movies are really schlocky, but then you get that one that actually kind of took aim at what is it, the insurance industry and the
Hmm.
healthcare system in America, mainly because, well, our slasher, our poster child, is a cancer patient, so it kind of makes sense
Yeah,
that he'd have a bone to pick with these people.
yeah, yeah. It had that like yeah that weird sort of like I want to say like political sort of thing behind it.
uh,
That and sometimes it would come out really ham fisted, but other times like that
oh
insurance
yeah.
thing, it was like, oh, that's actually quite cool.
And it's the only one that did it. And it's funny, you could tell that they were at a fork in the road for the Saw movies, where it's like, okay, we can be the Purge or we can keep being schlock. They kept being schlock, but like in an alternate universe, this movie Spiral was the sequel, and we actually got what is it, more politically minded horror. Oh, and Tevye saying Jigsaw sucked. Yeah, was that the last one? I don't think I remember seeing that one.
I don't.
The very
I honestly can't remember. I'm probably going to go back and rewatch them all once this film starts getting near release.
they all bleed together. I would say if you're into it, I would say most of them are pretty good. There's maybe one or two duds in there where it's like, well, this isn't as good as it. Like I think 4 was like my least favorite because you could tell they were getting done one trilogy and starting a new trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But like some are actually pretty good, and like I almost respect them for making those movies on the fly like they did.
Yeah, I like the first three because yeah, that's like a story. But yeah, with number four, it felt like, oh, people actually really like that story. So like, and that because that's when like all the ridiculous like retcons and stuff happen. Like, oh,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
actually really this person behind everything and all that. Like that one where that cop who was in like the first like couple of movies where he's just like a cop, he's suddenly the bad guy now.
Yes, Hoffman. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, which I think his name is like Costas Mandalore or
yeah.
something, so he's basically a Mandalorian. But yeah, the Saw series is so fucking weird, and it reigned supreme for so long. And I love that we're getting a weird ass sequel to this now. I am so fucking on board with this. I am gonna be the first in line in the theater to see this one. It's gonna be me, and they're gonna be like, "Man, that man is way too happy to see this Chris Rock horror movie."
This is like your Sonic.
It yes, one, this is my Sonic, this is my Cats, this is my hook it to my fucking veins now, please. Which, man, speaking of Sonic, that one actually got some fairly all right
Yeah,
reviews, which I'm surprised about.
I went and saw it on a whim, and it's not bad. It's not good. It's just it's like it's all right.
It's adequate, which for
Yeah,
Sonic is surprising, and for video game movies is surprising. It's like the whole world was marking that movie on a fucking curve.
yeah. If this movie had come out in like 2002, it would be like the smash hit of the year. Like it's very much
Right, it
that
might
like
act.
early 2000s film, and like I could see this, and it's even funnier because like if it was made in early 2000s, I could see James Marsden playing the exact same role.
It's a movie out of time, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Also, Jim
It
Carrey's
really fucking
fantastic in
is.
it.
That's what I hear, that he basically saves the whole damn thing. Oh, thank you for the cheers party, Pug. That again, this is him in like Ace Ventura mode, where
Hmm.
they just like let him off the leash and say, do whatever you want.
Yeah, oh, and he does everything he wants. Everything.
Not a piece of scenery left standing because he chewed it all thoroughly. Yeah, so there's shit Joel cares about. Corner everyone.
Mhm.
Again, you mentioned Sonic. The fact that they had the Sonic movie come out on Valentine's Day, and a bunch of trendy couples saw it ironically, went home and banged, and that means that there's going to be a bunch of Sonic the Hedgehog kids in a couple years.
Oh god.
in like 6 to 9 months. Imagine having to tell your kid that, where it's like, well, we went out to a fancy restaurant on Valentine's Day, and then we said we'd see the Sonic movie, ironically. And then later that night, we totally plowed with images of Jim Carrey in our minds. And that's how you were born. Now get back to work in the spice mines of 2030 or wherever we're going to be working by then. Someone's gotta, go out into the wasteland and get gasoline for the warlord
Yeah.
by that time.
Yes, the kid who was born by Sonic.
Oh, fuck. Man, I bet we didn't think we'd talk about this. And with that, everyone, again, we're having a conversation about movies, so this actually serves as a really solid segue. I finally got to see Birds of Prey last week, and because, we kind of alluded to some of the conversation, I figure, hey, let's talk about it more in depth now that I've actually seen it.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just come out and give my initial thoughts, because Matt gave his. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There was some fun stuff in there. I don't like it as much as Shazam, but boy, do I like it more than Suicide Squad.
Yeah. It's not a bad film, but yeah, it's kind of just like in that middling ground.
This was the lady's first time directing, yes, who did this, I do believe. This was her first big film.
I think it's like her first big studio film.
Okay, because again, this feels very much like a movie I would make if you said, okay, Joel, it's your first at bat. Because it feels like 7 movies all at once, and it's like, look, I may never get to do another one of these, so I'm going to do everything I want in this film, even if it doesn't quite gel and doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah, it felt like that, as well as, like, we do know that, like, I think all the action scenes were done by the second director unit, so I think she might have had a little bit of a hand in it, but they were mainly left to the second director unit, which was the guy who directed John Wick.
Okay, see, I was going to bring that up, and I'm glad you said that, Matt, because I was going to say whoever did the action scenes in this has a really unique eye. The one that especially blew me away was the one in the prison cells with the sprinklers going off and everything. And I'm like, oh, shit, this is really well put together. This is really fucking solid. You know what it reminded me of? The prison yard fight from The Raid 2, only with, water instead of mud.
Yeah.
That was really well put together. Also, that biker who tries to kill Harley there, was that Tom Savini?
I don't know.
I don't think so. That was either horror legend Tom Savini or a man who looked a lot like Tom Savini. That bugged the shit out of me. I'm like, why is Tom Savini trying to kill Harley Quinn right now? I guess story-wise, I will give them credit for actually hammering out a more actual 3-dimensional version of the Harley character than Suicide Squad ever did. I actually quite enjoyed the little animated segment they had at the beginning of the movie where Harley basically tells us about her life.
Yep.
I actually wish the movie had more of that. I wish every character had a fun little animated segment about their lives. I think that would actually really give the movie an edge in that regard.
The only thing I think it was a missed opportunity to not have it as like the Batman animated series animation.
Oh yeah, that would have been pretty sweet. Kind of pay homage to where she came from. Yeah, if they did it again when they do the special edition of Birds of Prey, they should definitely do that. The
special PG version that's definitely going to be coming out.
Yeah, that's the thing too, because as I sat and watched the movie, I'm like, none of this really needed to be R. No. Yeah, they dropped some F-bombs here and there. Black Mask cuts a family's face off and everything, but you could get around that by and large. You really wouldn't lose much from the movie.
That's the thing, it's R-rated just for the fact that it could be R-rated. It's R-rated that doesn't serve the story like how Logan or like Deadpool's R-rated serve the story. This one doesn't.
Yeah, I have to wonder, did this one going R-rated have something to do with the success of Joker? Was that like Warner Brothers kind of feeling themselves and being like, oh, if we make more R-rated clown movies, then obviously we're going to have no problem filling out the seats?
It feels like that, but it also feels like they go by the whole, if it's R-rated, it's mature, like it's for adults. Like
Fair enough.
they're in that mindset where
Right,
it's
right.
like
Which
even if a movie's PG-13, it can still be for adults.
absolutely, absolutely. Padum. So yeah, it's funny. It's called Birds of Prey, yet that would be like calling Deadpool 2 X-Force, because even though they are in the movie and they all get their own little arcs, it could not be less about them. This is the
No.
Harley movie through and through, so I see why they changed the name when they did.
Yeah, yeah, it is absolutely not a Birds of Prey film. They're not even really the Birds of Prey until like the last like 30 seconds.
Which I actually kind of respected, because they keep that continuity intact where it's like, yes, Harley is not a member of the Birds of Prey. In fact, they assemble and become a team completely independently of her, to where I'm like, well, if that's the case, then why did you call the movie Birds of
And that's
Prey?
what I said in my review, that like as I was watching the film, I was like, oh, like you could, like, if you just film things just a little bit differently, you could have easily taken Harley Quinn's part of the story, spread it out amongst the other characters, and actually made a Birds of Prey film, and not have
Yeah,
Harley
I
Quinn in
guess
the film.
structurally, this movie reminded me a lot of like a Guy Ritchie, crime
Mm-hmm.
caper. And I'm not just saying that because they're all fighting over a diamond, which is very much like Snatch.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously, where it's like, okay, here's the little segment with Renee Montoya, here's the little segment with Huntress, here's a segment over here with what is it, with Dinah, and how they all intersect together at the end. It felt very Guy Ritchie, didn't it?
It did, yeah, yeah. I think there was even like it annoyed me, but like when Harley would like stop the story to like talk to the audience in a Deadpool like way to say this is how this happened, and kind of go back to like the beginning of the story so you understand it mid story.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of like a Guy Ritchie
I
sort of
I
thing.
I feel too that was kind of like their way of justifying why the movie happened in so many segments, where it's like, no, it's not that it's disjointed, it's that Crazy Harley is telling you a crazy story that
Hmm.
doesn't match up with everything.
Yeah.
I was genuinely surprised that I liked this version of Black Canary as much as I did, mainly because they keep a shocking amount of her origin actually intact here with one conversation, to be like, yes, we know you're a metahuman, your mom was a metahuman too, and implied to be a crime fighter. And I'm like, really? They changed so much about so many other characters, but they kept that intact. That's really
Yeah.
surprising.
Again, it's really weird. They're like really selective with what they choose for like these characters. Like some will be like Black Canary, more or less like their comic counterpart, and then you'll get like Cassandra Cain.
Who is really only here in name only. They could literally have called her anything else and it would have made as
It's
much
like, why
sense. I'm
didn't they?
surprised they
Why
burned.
didn't they? Just make her
She
some
could have just
rando.
been, again, I think by giving her that name, you get to put her on the poster and you get to talk about her. Like, oh, here's another comic character we're adapting, even though we're not really adapting. And then, like that bugged me too at first, and then I'm like, well, this is probably the only way you're ever gonna get to see Cassandra Cain in a DC movie now, because they sure as fuck ain't doing Robin, and if they ain't doing the most famous, well-known sidekick, then you're not getting any Batgirl, let alone like the third Batgirl.
There was one thing I did like with Cassandra Cain, and it's something that they didn't do, which I thought they were gonna do. So that's when she swallows the diamond, because like the whole film that plays off the fact that she swallowed the diamond, they got to get it out.
Mhm.
I was for sure thought they were gonna have her swallow the diamond, and that was gonna make her mute, and like that was the reason why she couldn't. And I'm like, oh, don't do it, don't do it. But they didn't do it, and I'm like, oh, thank you for not actually doing that stupid thing that I thought you were going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not gonna, like, some people are calling like, oh, it's a butchering. Oh, they did her dirty. They ruined her. No, they didn't ruin her. They just didn't do her at all, is the thing. It's actually better this way than they tried to say, like, again, like Matt said, oh, she's mute because she swallowed a diamond or anything. That would be ruining. That would be showing disrespect for the character. This is, they just took the name and nothing else.
Yeah, yeah.
And oh, speaking of name and nothing else, Ewan McGregor as Black Mask, who it is very, very easy to tell he never wore that mask when they filmed it originally, and they very awkwardly put in scenes where he was wearing it.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I'll have to like go back and look once it comes out on DVD, but I swear someone on Twitter pointed out that when we first see the mask in that like kind of like Suicide Squaddy like title card for the character sort of thing they had is completely different to the one we see at the end of the film. Like the mask looks completely different.
No
So
doubt about it.
I'm like, oh yeah, it was very obvious that all that stuff was reshot to act, because I guarantee you in the original cut they probably didn't even wear the mask.
Oh, of course not. I bet he was only supposed to. The bar was called the Black Mask Bar. He was supposed to have it during that trippy "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend" segment. That was gonna be it. But then fans got mad, so they had to put it back in there. My favorite part is when he's standing there at the funhouse at the end, and oh, he has this modulation over his voice now because apparently the mask can do that. And I'm like, no, Ewan McGregor just didn't want to show back up to set, so you just put it on someone else.
Yeah, you just put it on a stunt double.
Yeah,
and it makes
fine.
sense as well, because when he dies at the end, he's not wearing the mask or anything at all.
He's not wearing the mask at all, which, all right, sure, fine. You worked it in a little bit. That's fine. We can all agree, though, Ewan McGregor, a lot of fun in this role. Again, he is just doing his hammy best.
Yeah, he's chewing up that scenery and not leaving anything left unchewed. He's funny. He can get real serious and violent at times, and yeah, he makes Roman Sionis an actual good character.
Yes, an actual character. They give him stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
They give him a bit of pathos that, he's living in the shadow of rich, successful parents. And, being a violent criminal is his way of kind of getting noticed, like the kid having a temper tantrum, but doing it to the nth degree. He has fun interplay with Zaz that I wasn't expecting, where in some bits you're like, are these two a couple? I think they might be a couple.
Yeah, I think they were meant to be, but yeah, they didn't want to go all that way because of, China and whatnot, which funny enough the movie isn't even in China at the moment,
which blows my mind. I'm like, oh, come on, let's have a gay supervillain. Let's do for it. It's 2020. Let Black Mask have a boyfriend. Why not? It can only make him more interesting.
Yeah, it'll actually give him something to do.
Yeah, which again, hey, false face society, I put a false face out to the world because they can't know what I am under it. I'm like, that actually makes a lot of sense and kind of tracks, actually, if that was something they were willing to do. What else was there? Oh, we haven't talked about Huntress yet. Man, in all those little segments with Huntress, because they kind of have this whole who is the crossbow killer thing, who's killing mobsters. In the few scenes with her, I'm like, man, you could have made a really good John Wick-esque movie with Huntress on her own, and I think that would have been fucking huge, but she gets a small segment in this.
Yeah, we've basically just talked about her for as long as she's in the film.
Yeah, she gets the least to do out of anybody.
Yeah, and I didn't like the character here because it feels like she was given one stage direction, and that was act angry.
Yes.
And that's all it was.
Act angry when you're not kind of acting oblivious, because like the joke is her big through line comedy bit is that she like wants to be like a Quentin Tarantino protagonist where it's like, do you remember me, Bill? Do you remember me, Matsumoto? But the thing is that she can never get through her speech. She can never get it done, which is pretty funny in and of itself. And that's her thing. Like, she's like trying in the mirror to be like, oh, am I scary enough? Am I doing it right? Again, very Guy Ritchie movie. Very like Guy Ritchie protagonist.
Yeah. It's also really weird that she doesn't get a lot to do when considering the diamond she has is the Bertinelli diamond. And that's like that's like the plot point in the film. And she's barely like involved with it at all.
Yeah, she doesn't much give a shit about the diamond, which is surprising because it's the thing that's promoting all these other characters around. Hell, when you get the big reveal where it's like, oh yeah, I was just here to kill Zaz, my arc is done basically, my movie is finished, and then she still gets involved at the big fight at the end. But yeah, I definitely liked this version of Huntress, and I hope that if nothing else, they can put her in something else, because I would actually think it would be cool if this version of Huntress showed up in like a Batman sequel or something.
That'd be pretty cool. Like, yeah, if they gave her a little bit more to do, I would probably like the character a lot more. But yeah. At least like Renee Montoya got a lot to do. I liked Renee Montoya.
boy did I ever. And I've had like a huge fucking crush on Rosie Perez for like so long, from like White Man Can't Jump onward, and I was fan casting her forever to be like, she should be Renee Montoya. I don't care that she's short, whatever. Trick photography will Peter Jackson this shit and make her look taller than she actually is. And then it got to the point where it's like, no, they'll never cast her now as Renee Montoya, because in Hollywood's weird eyes, she's too old now. Then to hear that she got the role anyway, and I'm like, fuck yeah, all right.
Yeah, and she's great in it. I really enjoyed her. I especially enjoyed her, like, through most of the movie. She wore a shirt that said, "I shaved my balls for this."
Which is a pretty great visual gag. Also, her friend, and maybe implied more in something that they cut from this, is Ali Wong, the district attorney, and that blew my mind that Ali Wong is in this movie but does not say or do anything funny.
Yeah, she's just like there for a scene and that's it.
That has to be more on the cutting room floor. Like, you do not hire a very funny comedian with several Netflix specials and then not have them do any bits or any shtick.
Yeah, a lot of this film felt like it was a cut, like the whole like Huntress in the Diamond thing, like she wasn't involved with the plot because it felt like a lot of that was cut out. And again, like
Yeah.
I've heard like rumors that like originally on the Diamond was like Black Mask's dick pics or something. I don't fucking know. Like why they would be on the Diamond, I don't know. And then that got changed in like the reshoots to be like codes for fucking a fortune or something.
Yeah, which, you know what, I'm fine with that too. I like that, the what is it? The diamond isn't enough for what it's worth monetarily. No, there's bank account numbers on the diamond, and that's what they're after. I'm like, okay, that's very suitably comic book, and also fits this story too, because, obviously Harley Quinn isn't going to save the day. She isn't going to save the city, even though ironically she saved the day and the city in the last episode of her cartoon show, because that's how much she's grown and evolved in that series. I'm actually kind of happy they did that. And even at the end, too, when Harley kind of screws over the rest of the team and leaves, and I'm like, yeah, I guess they still need to keep her an anti-hero or anti-villain, however you want to look at it, because she's still probably going to be in that Suicide Squad sequel.
Yeah, well, she is. We've seen set photos and stuff of her that look more like a Harley Quinn from the comics as well. She
Yeah,
doesn't seem to like look like white trash anymore.
I wonder how they're going to square that circle, because this movie does it probably the best way it can, where it's like, okay, Joker breaks Harley out of jail at the end of Suicide Squad, and then what happens? Oh, he got bored of her and kicked her to the curb minutes later.
And
Which
then,
is the most Joker thing I can think of.
oh yeah. I love how they treated the Joker in this film, where it's like, okay, so this Joker was Jared Leto. We can't have him because he's a fucking insane person. No one liked his Joker, so we'll just have like stunt doubles in like green wigs every now and then, and we'll take him out of scenes that were from Suicide Squad that were in this film.
Man, that blew my mind. That was hilarious in and of itself. I'm like, this is the best joke the movie tells right here, that Jared Leto existed at one point. Also, I was shocked too, because that last trailer really heavily implied that Harley killed the Leto Joker when she blew up Ace Chemical. Didn't actually happen in the movie, but she really might as well have.
Yeah. Maybe that was what it was, and they got scared after like the Joker did really well, like the Joker film. And they're like, oh, don't kill him off. Like, leave him.
Yeah, just leave it there. We might do something with it in the future. Also, man, how many times have they blown up Ace Chemical now? Batman blows it up in Batman 89. Harley blew it up here.
It's funny, you mentioned Batman. This whole movie takes place in Gotham, and Batman's referenced once, and we never see, like, the bat signal or like, even hints that Batman is around.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And again, I guess that's the way you should do it. Either reference Batman and have him show up, or just don't make me think about it at all.
Well, that's the thing. That's the funny. I didn't want to think about it, but then like they did stuff like they were having like fucking car chases through the middle of fucking Gotham, blowing up Ace Chemicals, that all the stuff at Amusement Mart. I'm like, well, Batman like should be involved in this somehow.
Like, even if they just had like a TV thing where it's like, oh, Batman is tied up doing is like in fucking space with the Justice League or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Again, it didn't really bother me, because again, I am in the know, and it's like, they sure as shit ain't gonna have Robert Pattinson come down, and they sure ain't having the other guy come down. Batman's in rehab, kids. That's why he couldn't come. because Batman is in very real rehab. What's some other stuff there? Again, we mentioned Bruce. That Bruce the hyena joke, that is pretty funny.
That is, yeah, that's pretty funny.
That was a good bit. I like he comes back at the end. I like that Harley Quinn lives above a Chinese restaurant. I think it was a Taiwanese restaurant.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Which again, she's kind of friends with the owner, and again, I wish that had a little bit more time too, because it's like, oh, Harley is actually able to keep a relationship going with a normal person. He kind of screws her over at the end, but Harley chooses to stick with Cassandra at the end, showing that she's a little better than that. There's definitely some layers here. There's definitely some more stuff to be played around with her character. The thing that I actually was dying to know more about, and that I really wish we would get a Saw-esque sequel of people who are just hanging out in the background. Harley's friends at the beginning of the movie, like Harley just has like regular sycophant friends, and I'm like, they know she's killed people, right? They know why are they hanging out with her? What are their daytime lives like?
Yeah, well, I found that part really interesting, where like she broke up with the Joker and everything, but then like used the clout that being the Joker's girlfriend got her to like get pissed at parties and like break Daniel Bernhardt's legs and stuff like that.
That was pretty clever, and the fact that she had to hide it and keep it close to the chest. I almost wish they had played that up for a little bit longer in the movie.
Yeah, but I did like how it like eventually caught up to her and like made kind of shit get real.
It was it was a very Grand Theft Auto moment there, where it's like, oh no, you've got a 5-star wanted level, and now everyone is coming after you. Let's talk about the soundtrack here. It's so funny, in a post Guardians of the Galaxy world, every superhero movie now kind of has to have a bitchin' soundtrack, and if they don't, it seems lesser in comparison. This one had a pretty good set of songs. Again, much better than Suicide Squad, because it didn't just grab a bunch of popular songs. This movie actually had songs that I'm pretty sure the characters in it would listen to.
Yeah, it was stuff you would probably hear in Black Mask Club, or like Harley listening to. It wasn't goddamn Bohemian Rhapsody because Queen's popular and Guardians of the Galaxy did it.
The only song I didn't like was the very sad the sad lo-fi cover of Hit Me With Your Best Shot. I'm like, well, this one kind of came out of nowhere. That feels like we were going to use this in a trailer at one point when we wanted it to seem more sad, and we kept the rights to it, so we just had to put it in somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, and a lot of the other one, Black Betty, again, another great use of that one there. So pretty good soundtrack, I would say. Definitely gets points for that.
Yeah.
I guess what else can we really say about the movie? It is. The best thing about it and the worst thing about it is that it keeps things very simple. It's not like trying to blow your mind. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's just trying to be a fun version of what it is.
Yeah, it's a completely fun film. It doesn't break new ground or anything. I do think that like they kind of missed a beat with they should have just called it fucking a Harley Quinn film featuring the Birds of Prey, or what would become the Birds of Prey.
It would fix so many problems, right? And I know that seems like a weird thing to be hung up on, but it's just like you could fix so much if you just changed this one thing. Then I think people would be going in with different expectations.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People aren't going into it because this film's a fucking flop.
This is like that weird movie math there where it's like only your first weekend matters, and it had a bad first weekend, but it made more of its money back after that, but then it got knocked out of the #1 spot by fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, which has got a really fucking...
Sonic.
And then it's like, well, Sonic isn't actually doing very good either, but it's doing better than this, so it's like, again, the optics on it look really bad, and that's unfortunate, because again, I think there's something here, and I would have liked to have seen a follow-up in some regard, and this isn't the last we've seen of Margot Robbie, that's for sure. She's gonna be in the Suicide Squad, and probably in more after this. They might just, kind of develop that one a little differently.
Yeah, well, again, it kind of begs the question, like, so this film, they kind of, like, step back and let the director and all those people sort of, like, do their thing, and then it came out, and then it, like, seemingly, in their eyes, it failed. So, like, does that mean they're going to get the trailer people coming in who are from the Suicide Squad, first Suicide
God, I
Squad
hope
film? Are
not.
they going to
Thank you,
come
Marty
in
Puck, for
and do the
subscribing.
sequel?
I really hope not. And again, I'm glad you brought that up, Matt, too, because I mean that's something that we can definitely say in this movie's credit is that this definitely 100% feels like the work of the director and writer and everyone. This
Mhm.
this was their creative vision
Yeah,
100% for
there's a
better or
vision
worse.
there.
That
There's a
was
style that it's all very plain there.
Yeah, it didn't get noted to death. And again, as we've said a million times before, Warner Brothers always seems to learn the wrong lesson with everything, and I
Mhm.
hope they don't learn the wrong lesson here again.
As I said, because this film failed, like, what does that mean for like Gunn's Suicide Squad? Because that's still filming and probably almost finished. And I said like, oh, is the trailer people getting called up? Are they going to be coming in soon?
Yeah, really. I mean, you would think that, they would treat Gunn differently because it's like, oh, well, he came from the other guys. He has the golden touch. He's the one who can make this stuff work when we seem so incapable.
You say that, but yeah. Again, like, it's WB. They learned the wrong lessons.
About everything. They're like, look, can this be R-rated too? Can we have the Joker in this as well? That Joker movie made $1 billion.
I could see a Suicide Squad film be R rated. I could understand why that film would be R rated, but at the same point, it's like, yeah, are they going to try and force that if Gunn doesn't want that, or?
And also too, it's going to be very interesting down the line for Gunn and these characters as well, where it's like, okay, well, who has more pull in this situation? Robbie clearly has a lot of pull. This movie was in many ways a vanity project for her. Does
Mhm.
that mean she gets no more vanity projects? Is that just, look, just show up for these movies now? Do the Gunn thing because Gunn clearly knows what's going on here, but also maybe don't follow him completely and maybe do have more clout because he also works for Marvel, so we're not going to have 100% of his undivided time.
Yeah, it's a very weird situation, and I'm intrigued to see what will become of this and whether this will get a sequel or these characters will appear in other things. Maybe not though.
You know what my pitch for a sequel would be? Call it Harley and Ivy. That's the sequel. It's tell the first meeting of Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy.
Well, that's the thing. You could kind of do two sequels to this film. You could do a Harley one and like a Birds
Mm,
of Prey one, like a proper
You
Birds of
could.
Prey movie.
Indeed, you could, which in that case, I would say just adapt like the first arc of Gail Simone's
Yeah,
run.
yeah, like
It's
bring
all
in like
basically
Lady
there.
Blackhawk and all those people.
Yeah, just do that, and then there you go. You got a whole franchise on your hands right there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the takeaway from this one was and how it does on DVD too and digital. Because, like, as we said before, Shazam, you and I both loved. Similarly, had a really soft weekend, a bit of a weak gross, but I
Mhm.
think it really took a year for that movie to catch on and kind of for the Christmas season to come around. And now I think it's actually on its way to becoming a Home Alone-esque Christmas staple now, where it's like, oh, well, you got to watch that at Christmas time.
Yeah, it'll definitely be really interesting to see its physical and digital release, but also like as I said before, like will they? So they've seen that like the R rating kind of maybe hurt it. Will they do like
Hmm.
a PG-13 cut of the film?
I think you could do it. I really do.
Oh yeah, no, you could definitely do it, but the thing is, will they? That's the thing.
I, again, we just complimented how happy we were that, this was really the director and writer's vision come to life on this one. Then I feel kind of like a hypocrite by saying, yeah, but you could totally cut this down to a PG-13, though.
Yeah, well, I think like a lot of like the R rated just comes from like swear words and like the odd like
Uh,
scene of like a flayed face.
yeah, of uber violence. It is kind of funny too, and I know we talked about this before. DC went all in on Harley Quinn a couple years ago as a character and basically changed everything about her. Where it's like, look, we got to get her away from the Joker. She's an anti-villain now. She has fun shenanigans. She's our fourth pillar because she sells a ton of merchandise, and we want to sell Harley Barbies, and we want to have Harley be in more cartoon shows and everything, and have her be acceptable for little kids. And then we have here what again is basically the Harley movie, and then you hide that behind an R rating and say, "Oh, sorry, kids, you can't actually come see this."
Yeah, it's again very strange. Very strange.
And it's like we compare it to Deadpool, and Deadpool came out the same time like when it came out originally around Valentine's Day, but they built it as a love story. And again, Deadpool had been like a big meme generator for like almost a decade before that. So
Hmm.
like anyone who had never even read a comic book before at least knew, oh, I know Deadpool, he's that meme superhero. Oh, I got to go see this. And also Deadpool felt kind of a little cheeky and like a little subversive because it was
Hmm.
making fun of other superhero movies and like the superhero conventions. Harley, despite like kind of breaking the fourth wall, sometimes doesn't really go in that direction.
No, and I think if she did, she'd just be a Deadpool knockoff.
She'd just be and I'm glad they don't go in that direction. I'm glad she kind
Hmm.
of retains more of her character. It's this ultimate you're damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat says if Harley's Barbie, who's Ken? Well, Ken is Ken. Ken is only ever Ken.
Yeah, it's just Ken.
Just Ken. He's got one name. It's like Cher. And on that note, everyone, I guess we can start winding down the show. Oh, hey, I never actually talked about our sponsor, everyone. LiveFitFood.ca. Get a meal plan that works for you. Check them out and use the promo code JoelDaily20, and you will get a whopping 20% off. I also gave away $50 on the Patreon page last week.
Nice.
Yeah, so there you go. Also, again, if you are a patron, you'll get to listen to this episode first before anyone else. It's always nice to see someone become a patron. Really helps keeps the lights on here. Really helps us do stuff. I try and reward those guys by getting them to hear the show and see the show first before anyone else. Got to do another commentary. I haven't done a special exclusive commentary in a while, but I definitely want to do one for them coming up in the near future. So keep your eyes open for that.
Cool.
Any closing thoughts, Matt? Anything at all?
No, not really. Yes, Party Pug wants some comic multiverse emojis for Twitch. Can we make them? Can we make them? If we can make them, I'll figure out how to do it and put them in.
Yeah, man, you are asking the wrong guy. Matt's on the case, everyone. When things get done in work, it's because Matt did them, and when things take 6 months to get done, it's because I did it. Matt's the guy you go to when you want shit done now. I'm the guy you go to when you want something done 6 months by now. It's a miracle I remember to upload the show to SoundCloud every Thursday at some point when I remember. Oh man, speaking of podcasts, this is a funny story before we actually end officially here. So I wrote a bunch of podcast networks like last month, and I'm like, hey, we've been doing this show for almost 200 episodes, and we got a lot of fans on Twitch and all over the place, and here's my own channel metrics. Can we be part of your podcast network? Can you put us up where other shows are, so hopefully more people can find us who don't know us through YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
And I got at least one letter back. I wrote the Canadian companies first because I figured, be easier to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Canadian. They need so much Canadian content, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, oh, hey, we like your channel and everything. This is pretty cool. But you're on SoundCloud, and it gives us really shitty stats. That's why most people use it for music and not for podcasts. Well, the fuck was I to know when I first did it originally? But yeah, hey, send us over your stats. We're looking for, like 10,000 downloads an episode for us to take a look at you. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not going to write you back because we don't get 10,000 downloads an episode. I'm like, that's a fucking lot. I guess that's the divide between a really popular podcast and us. I guess we're a cult following podcast, everyone. Not that I have a problem with that. You're the best cult around. But, if all of you could go out and maybe download 10,000 episodes tomorrow, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, we'll have to get some of those Russian bots to download it. Suddenly we're like a 50,000 view podcast.
It's true, and it's like I stop and think about it. It's like even just the podcast I'm listening to, like, did they get 10,000 down? Yeah, I guess. Because they're usually popular comedians in their own right, or popular internet personalities in their own right. And I'm thinking, what the fuck would we have to do to get 10,000 downloads an episode? We have to pay you for listening. Yeah, that's the thing. We gotta get our buttholes on there. We gotta do something, Matt. In fact, in the comment section down below, tell us what do we need to do to get 10,000 downloads. We'll start doing it. Nothing too crazy. I was gonna say nothing is too crazy. By all means, let us know what we need to do. We'll get right on that. So again, thank you everyone for watching and listening. Much appreciated, and we will be back again next week, everyone. So until then, I've been Cave Joel.
I'm Matt.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.